trader notices that towards the end of the trading day, basically trades, seem to get less profitable. So, so basically at some time a day, what they would like to do is, they want to prevent new trades from occurring, right? So no new positions, placed after certain time of the day. Basically usually it's, a couple of hours, an hour or maybe 2 hours before the market closes, whatever it is, right? Some trading ideas work really good when the markets are volatile, so you only want those systems to trade the first couple of hours in the morning and then not trade anymore in the afternoon as things usually kind of settle down with the markets, right? So, so the first thing is determining when your system should stop trading, right? And then just say no new entries after some point. But then the second component here, which is really what this question is about, is if you do have a trade open, how can you let that trade ride out if it's profitable, right? So if the trade's profitable, let it ride out, until it hits a target or a stop loss, but otherwise, if it's not profitable, then close it out. Then close the trade out if it's not profitable. So, all right, so I already have BlackBird up and running on my chart. So let me just go into the order settings window here. So, part one, preventing trades after a certain time, right? That's done in the scheduling, right? So you can set up scheduling here to make sure, right, that BlackBird only trades during certain times of the day here. So, I'm going to enable the, restrict auto entries by time. And then what I'm going to do is scroll down to the bottom and use NinjaTrader's, US equities RTH, right? So basically I'm setting up the RTH there, regular trading hours. And then, so basically, this kind of presets up our trading hours. And then, of course, depends on what, this looks like Eastern time. Yeah, my guess is this is set up for Eastern time here, right? But let's just say, let's just change things up a little bit. Let's just say you want to prevent trading, you don't want any new trades the last hour of the market, right? So what we could do is just clip off the last hour of the market there. So we'll shorten each day, right, by 1 hour. So basically no trades, no new positions will be opened the last hour of the market there. All right, so I clipped out the last hour of the market. And if I open this up, there we go. It's probably a little easier to read, right? So we can see basically, the end time is set to 3 p.m. and this is Eastern. So keep in mind that down here on the bottom, there's a time zone here, right? So this is Eastern time, right? So, and trading ends at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So there you go. So that's how you would accomplish, condition number one there, preventing new positions from opening after a certain amount of time here. Now, the forced trades to exit, this is just a simple scheduling thing, right? It will just close out a trade, indiscriminately. Doesn't matter if it's profitable or not. It's just saying, make sure there's no positions open, after my trading period, right? So that's just a hard backstop there to close out, if there is any open position, it's just going to close it out. But since we have this secondary requirement, right, this extra requirement of evaluating whether the current position is profitable or not, right, then that means that you can't use this hard stop here, because it's just going to close out your trade regardless. Doesn't matter if it's profitable or not. It's just a hard stop there, or not a hard stop, I don't mean stop loss, but just a hard time limit. All right. So in order to evaluate whether a trade is profitable or not, we're going to have to use the trailing rules here, right? So let me create a position here. Let's see here. So you're going to either need a stop loss, right, to access the trailing rules, or you're going to need to have a profit target, one or the other, right? So I'm going to use a stop loss, all right, because that's probably the majority of people will be using stop losses there. So I'm just going to make just pick something to get my stop loss setted, right? So so the initial placement has nothing to do with this question. So just ignore the initial placement. It's going to be whatever you want to use. So, but to accomplish, item number 2 there, we need to set up a trailing rule to evaluate whether the trade is profitable or not. Right. So let's create a trailing rule here. All right. So what we want to evaluate is, is the position in a loss at the end of trading. So you notice originally I put end of day, but we're not evaluating at the end of the day. We're evaluating at whatever your custom end of trading time is, right? Okay, so now the trigger, this is where all the evaluating is accomplished, right? That's what the triggers do. They offer various ways to evaluate, a current trade, or evaluate indicators, right? You can also evaluate indicator conditions as well to a very limited extent, right? So we want to evaluate whether the trade is profitable or in a loss. And this profit or loss, this is for unrealized P&L, right? This is evaluating the current position that's open, right? So the unrealized P&L of the current position. So, and we are looking for a loss. So we'll leave the mode on loss. And the units, instead of currency, let's switch this over to ticks, and we're looking for, just simply 1 tick of loss, right? So if the position has at least 1 tick of loss, then we know it's a loser. Okay. So, all right. So that is basically, the first condition that we need to evaluate is the trade a loser. So let's see. Right now we're on the basics tab, so you can only set up 1 trigger. So we need to switch over to the advanced tab here. And so with the advanced tab, we can add more triggers. Right? So we need to add a bloodhound trigger here. So we can use, right, you'll notice that right now there is no kind of time-based trigger, right, or there is no scheduling trigger here, so maybe that's something, maybe that's another trigger that we can add at some point, is add in a scheduling type of trigger here, where you can set times a day, just like you do up in the scheduling, right, up in the management area there. So, but for now, we're going to use Bloodhound to identify when we're at that last hour or 2 of trading, where you don't want any new trades, and that time period where you want to evaluate, any open position to see if it's a loser or not, or a winner. All right, so using a Bloodhound signal, let's see if I actually have something. Let me see if I have something I can use. I think my crossover test template has something. Let's see. Maybe it's one of my other crossover test templates I have on other machines. But let's see. Yeah, that's the only one I have. All right, so I will make a new. I will add to this here. Yeah, I will modify my exit logic template here. I'll just modify this. All right, so there we go. So we'll create an exit signal at 3 p.m. Eastern there. Right. So let's get rid of that. So I'm not going to go into detail because this is not a Bloodhound workshop, but simply put, let's see here. I could use, let's see, now it's safer if I use the threshold solver. Right. I could use the time session solver, but keep in mind that custom time sessions aren't transferable from machine to machine. So yeah, so I'm going to use the threshold solver. And so for the indicator for the threshold solver here is going to be in the Shark Indicators folder. We're going to go into Tools, and we're going to use the time block indicator here. All right, so let's see, for the time block, I'm going to set that so to there we go, to 15. Oh, there we go, to 1500 hours, right? So the, and of course this time is based on your time zone. So there is no time zone setting for the time block indicator. There is no time zone setting. So you have to set this based on your time zone, right? So this is assuming that your time zone is Eastern Standard Time there, right? So, okay, so and then we want to let's see, so for the bull series that we want to evaluate, it will be, there we go, between times. So now this time we're going to use between times, right? So in other words, Bloodhound is going to generate an output, between 1500 hours and 1600 hours, right? So that's the last hour of trading if you're on the Eastern time zone. All right, so again, just remember to adjust the beginning time and the end time based on your computer's time zone, right? So whatever your computer's time zone is set to, adjust those accordingly, right? And then we're going to use the between times. So now, since we are using Bloodhound, there is a limitation to this, right? And I'll get into that in a moment here, but just note that, that because we're using an indicator, to tell us, we're using the time block indicator to tell us when it's 3 p.m. Eastern time, right? There is a inherent limitation with this, and we'll get into that, and I'll get into that later on, but just make note of that. So, all right, so there, and so now I just need to set the output for the threshold solver, right? So there we go. So this solver will output a signal between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? So hence the name, right? So exit at 3 p.m. Eastern. So, right, so that's all we need from Bloodhound, right? Is just to output a signal, during that last hour of trading, where, right, during that time when we want to evaluate closing out any open position, right? So again, the time that we're setting in the time block indicator, is based on, what time we want to evaluate whether to keep the trade open or close it out, right? Okay, so let's see here. Let me save that out and click OK. All right, and so I need to go back into my stop loss and back into the trailing rules here, and open up the Bloodhound signal trigger condition. All right, so I've loaded my Bloodhound template, and now I need to select the logic template that I'm using, and there it is. There's my exit logic template. So now the way I set that threshold solver up, the signal trigger mode doesn't really matter. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. Actually, probably, yeah, just to be safe, this is like putting a double redundancy in here. I'll set it to signals in either direction, right? So again, that exit signal from Bloodhound, it's going to generate a long and a short output. So, but just in case, somebody makes a mistake setting up that threshold solver, you can set the signal trigger to signals in either direction, right? So, because the point of this Bloodhound signal is not to evaluate long trades versus short trades, right? This Bloodhound signal has nothing to do with the trade direction at all, right? It's a time-based signal. So it doesn't matter if you're in a long or a short, right? We want a signal based on time, right? So the signal direction, can be either direction. So, all right, so that's our two conditions there, right? So we're evaluating, we're checking to see if the current position is in a loss, and then we also need Bloodhound to signal, right, to generate a signal when we're in that last period of the day where we might want to close out the trade, right? So now the last thing to set up, which is critical, is the mode. So this is critical, right? If you get this mode wrong, then BlackBird is not going to evaluate both of those triggers correctly. So, all right, so let's set this to, this needs to be all simultaneously. Yeah. So all simultaneously, right? So in other words, Bloodhound needs to generate a signal, right, during that last hour of trading, and then also at the same time, the trade needs to be in a loss, right? So if those two things occur together, now we can take action, right? So now we want to take some kind of an action, and that action is to flatten the position. So there we go, right? So if the current position has one tick of loss, and we're in that block of time, set by Bloodhound, then if both of those conditions are true, then flatten the position, right? So that's how you do that, right? So really, this is really very simple. There's definitely several, components, that you have to understand, right? So evaluating, whether your position is in a profit or loss, that's pretty straightforward there, and but also, setting up Bloodhound, to identify that period of time where you want to evaluate the trade. Right, that's pretty straightforward too, but as you can see, right, there definitely is a little bit of complexity setting it all up. So, all right, okay, so now let's discuss the limitations of this. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, right, since we're using Bloodhound here to generate, signals during that period of time, right, and we're using an indicator, well, what you got to realize is, indicators calculate when the bar closes. So if you're using non-time-based bars, then you can't evaluate the trade at exactly 3 p.m., right? You have to wait for the bar to close. And so however long it takes for that bar to close after 3 p.m., that is when Bloodhound will generate that time-based signal, right? So that's the limitation that you have to comprehend, is knowing, what type of chart are you trading, and, how long might it take a bar to close after that 3 p.m. time, right? Because that is when, right? So that is when Bloodhound will generate the signal, is after the bar closes. Right? So that's the limitation there. So, but based on this, waiting an extra minute is probably, not a big concern there. So just, I guess just for, just to show an example here, I'm going to add the time block to my chart, and right, so there we go. So I set the start time to 1500 hours and the end time to 1600 hours. And let's see, actually, no, let me cancel that, sorry. And let me do this, let me do this a different way. Let me add Bloodhound to the chart, and I will load in that Bloodhound file, and then select my exit at 3 p.m. Eastern logic template there. There we go. Let's put that on the chart. All right, so I want to scroll back to yesterday. And, oh, that's right. Because of my time zone, that, yeah, the data feeds, the markets, and the data feeds closed. So shoot, yeah, that's not going to work on my time zone. So let's see here. Let me. I will go in and make a quick adjustment. Here. All right, let's change it to 2. There we go. Okay, so now we can see something on my chart. There. All right, so here's the first signal, and we can see that, oh, well, this is a 10 range chart on the RTY, and it just happened that, right, we got a Bloodhound signal literally at 2 p.m. So this bar just happened to close at exactly 2 p.m. So let's see. Even if I go back to yesterday. All right, so going back 2 days. Let's see if I have a better example. Well, even 2 days ago, the RTY closed exactly at 2 p.m. But anyways, I think you guys understand my point here, which is Bloodhound is only going to generate a signal after the bar closes. So if that bar takes an extra minute to close after 3 p.m., then that's when BlackBird will do that evaluation of the position there. So Paul is asking, so after 1,500 hours, the trade will remain if profitable. Yes, it will. And then it says all trades exit by 5:15. So that actually has not been set up. So no, there is nothing that will close out all the trades before the market closes. So so let's touch on that other requirement here, right? So if we go into the scheduling, right, the force trades to exit has to be turned off. Otherwise, your trade is going to be exited at the end of this trading period, which is 3 p.m. Eastern, right? So if you turn this on, then obviously it's going to exit a trade regardless, right? So that is off. So let's see. So if you want to ensure that trades are closed out, then what we could do is make another trailing rule here that will just exit everything here. So all right, so we'll create an exit at the end of day, and that's going to be very similar to the previous trailing rule in that we're going to use a Bloodhound signal. All right, and let's see here. So this time, we're going to have to make another logic template here. So we have an exit at 3 p.m. and then we're going to have to make a copy. Make a copy of that. And we'll set this one up to exit at 4 p.m. Right? So, all right, so this solver here is it's set up to exit at 3 p.m. So we can't use this one. So let's go to our solvers tab, and so there's that solver, right, that generates a signal at 3 p.m. So let's make a copy of it, and we'll update the name, and then we have to go into the time block indicator and update the time. And let's see, I will just create a 1 hour window there. So I'll just keep this simple and just create a 1 hour window of time, right? So the begin time is 4 p.m. and then the end time is 5 p.m. And again, we want to use the between times there. So we probably could use the is start bar, but again, there's several ways to kind of to accomplish this, right? Several ways to skin this cat here. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. All right, so there we go. So now we have another threshold solver set up to generate signals at 4 p.m. for an hour. So now I need to finish setting up my logic template here. Right, there we go. So there we have it. And let me save that and close that out. And now select my logic template to close out. Let's see, where is it? Probably at the bottom. There we go. So exit at 4 p.m. And again, just to be, double redundant, I'll change this to signals in either direction. All right, and that's it. So we just need to set up a bloodhound signal, trigger. That's all we need, right? Because it doesn't matter if the trade is profitable or not. It's just, get out of the trade, by the time the market closes. And then set the action to flatten position there, right? And actually, I'll go in here and there we go. I'll edit this here to, so that it'll try and exit about 5 minutes before the market closes. There we go. So, all right, and let me go in and edit the time block indicator. There we go. All right, so that's how you would, set this up to try and exit, about 5 minutes prior to the market closing. Right. And there you go. I'll save that and save that. And there we go. So that's how you could put in a exit at end of day. So, and again, keep in mind that, the trade will not be exited until the bar closes, after that 3:55 time period, right? So if you're using, if you're trading on a really large time frame, obviously those bars could take a couple of minutes to close, after your 3:55, preferred time. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you're right, Paul. All right, Paul was saying that, exiting just before the market was part of the question. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right there, the very first statement. So, I didn't pull that out and make it its own line item. So, all right. Anyways, so we did get that added in. So there we go. There's the third condition there.